Okay, gamers, we have ourselves a very exciting key. Today, I bring you a 19 Cinderbrew. This is with a pug. We have a Resto Shaman, a Windwalker Monk, an Arms Warrior, an Unholy DK, and a Guardian Druid. Going into this first pull, this is a very standard pull at relatively high key levels where you want to make sure that you're pulling triple muscles and you're all focusing on one because they have a very nasty dot that they put on everyone in the group. And if you have multiple dots at the same time, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to end up dying. As you can see, everyone else is doing their crazy opener damage besides me. Sometimes I can peak at around 20 million on this first pack, but I have to get some really good procs. There you saw me peak at somewhere around 19 million with the Slicing Wind attack.
Dot. Targeted. Targeted.
Overall, this was a very clean first pull of the dungeon. We made sure to get the first muscle down really quick, and we almost got the second muscle down before the dot. So we have some very good prio damage in this group. You don't really even need an arcane mage for this, as long as you have the right comp and people are focusing the correct targets. So here the tank is going to go ahead and pull Chewy. Not much going on in this pack. You pretty much just have the one kick on the Pyromaniac. And you have to dodge Chewy's meat that he actively throws at you. This season, Windwalker Monk is on a 130 cooldown rotation, so I went ahead and slammed all my buttons right here to make sure we get Chewy down as fast as we can. Everything else is melting and my DPS is climbing. Windwalker does feel pretty good in high keys, especially if tanks do a good job of pulling around the 130 cooldown rotation. I think they are missing just a little bit of juice, maybe, I don't know, a couple of percent buff for some of the AoE, and I think that would make it a little bit more competitive, especially in Viz comps where you have hunters and warriors doing just really good damage. The value that the Windwalker Monk brings, for the most part, has to do with good prio and doing pretty good boss damage as well. There we wrapped up the Chewy pack, and it looks like the tank is going to pull everything to the left and the boss here, which is really good because my cooldowns are up in 6 seconds. This aligns very well with my cooldowns. I'm about to go crazy on this pack. It's not a dangerous pull for the DPS as much as it is for the tank. You just have to make sure that you kick the Pyromaniac. You also have to look out for the dot that the boss puts on you because that can do a lot of damage.
Dodge.
The tank has 10 stacks, but I realized this a little bit too late. I'm pretty sure I put a Ring of Peace somewhere around here. Maybe it's like over here or something. Okay, I guess I do absolutely nothing. Okay, there. Thank God I did something for the tank. So this was probably like my second or third time in a 19 Cinderbrew, and for the most part, they've all been bricked on the first pull. So I don't really know, I guess, some of the damage breakdowns or some of the things that are dangerous for certain tanks to help out. But looking back now, what I should have done is realize that the tank has 10 stacks of that dot, and he was really getting his health chunked down, and I should have popped a Ring of Peace. That way I could have helped him out. We have an awesome healer and a tank combo in this group, so they were able to handle that situation very well. Looks like the tank pulled 3 more mobs into him.
Dodge.
We have a dot here. We
Dodge.
actually don't have a defensive, and I'm pretty sure some more damage went out. I
Only
tried to
the
Soothing Mist with a Vivify
survive.
for the extra DR, but it just didn't come out fast. I should have used it a little bit faster. I will say the damage difference between an 18 and a 19 is pretty big. I think definitely getting reps in on some of these keys is better for cooldown management. Once you run this key a couple times, you kind of know where to pop your defenses and where you need something. That's something that I wish I had a little bit more of going into this key. I was also trying to play extra safe because I didn't want to die in a pug. I didn't want to break these guys' key. So we're just playing super cautious on the defensive front.
Dot. Dodge.
Here we have the boss down to 22%. We're kind of stuck in this corner. This is a very, very awkward camera angle, but we managed to get out. We have another tech smash going out. And I went ahead and popped all of my CDs here to finish off the boss.
Dot. Dodge. Dot. 1.
So we finished the first room in 7 minutes, which is pretty good. Only 9 seconds behind the 18 kill, but I also ended up dying. So if you subtract that 15 seconds, we're actually significantly ahead on the boss time. Going into this pack, I don't have any cooldowns. I'm going to go ahead and rely on the warrior and the DK to do the majority of the damage here, while I focus the harvester.
Front. Front.
Help me, please. Get
Front.
my meadery back, Outlander.
The most important thing is to make sure that you're stopping those final stings from the worker bees. You're kicking the wrangler because they can enrage the bees and do a lot of damage. So as you can see here, I capped one of the final stings, and this just helps out the tank. We ended up not doing good damage on this pack, and looking back, I don't know if it was the right move to send cooldowns on the boss or not. I thought it was pretty good at the time, but maybe with a little bit more optimization, and if I didn't die, we would be in a different position. So we end up having this harvester that we're going to be dragging across this room to move on to the next wing. I think this was a pretty good move from the tank. We're making sure to be very efficient with our time. Here we have all of our cooldowns, so we're going to be cryoing the hobgoblin. For the most part, we have very good cleave, so none of the explosive barrels do anything. There, I went down to like 1% health. That's definitely an item level difference. If it wasn't for the turbo boost, I'm pretty sure I would have died there. Yeah, so here we have a dot. I could diffuse magic, and I did. I was hoping that the healer would be able to heal me because, again, I'm playing very conservative with my defensives. I want to make sure I'm getting the most value out of him and using him more of as a last resort, just in case the healer doesn't have me. This hobgoblin is at 15%. He's almost dead. This is the most important mob in this pack and the most annoying. So that's why we are all prioring him. You can see those 2 batches went out, but they just got deleted real quick. Here, they asked me if I could do the skip. This skip is actually not too bad. I almost pulled right there. It's kind of dangerous in this spot right here. The hobgoblins move forward if you drop them incorrectly, which I did there. You want to make sure that you're backing up so you don't accidentally pull those mobs. Here, I'm just letting everyone know that I messed up the skip, which is a little unfortunate because I want to make sure I'm playing as best as I can because it's kind of hard to get into some of these higher keys as a Windwalker monk. So you want to make sure that you're leaving a pretty decent impression and you're not going to like mess up a skip or something like this. Luckily, we ended up killing that pack in a decent amount of time, and my ring of peace is up in 5 seconds. So I went ahead and I fixed the skip, and we were able to get past this with no issues. So just because you mess up the skip doesn't mean it's unfixable. You just drop the pat further into the wall, and then it moves the hobgoblins there as well. Yeah, and it's no problem. This is probably one of the most dangerous pools in the entire dungeon, and this is the very, very big lust pool in this boss room. There's probably at least 10 casters in here, the hobgoblin, and then also the batches that go out. They're not too dangerous because we have a lot of cleave.
Charge.
But here, the Unholy Decay is just absolutely cranking this pack. So is the Warrior. I'm here just for the prio damage, for the support. It's also very important to get kicks. So as a Windwalker monk, you can utilize your Ring of Peace here, your sweep, you have your in-cap.
Charge.
There, the Warrior goes down because of an unfortunate overlap. I'm pretty sure he got hit by a cast, and the Hobgoblin ran into a wall. So it was just the combination of those two things that went ahead and got him killed there.
Charge.
Here we're finishing up the Hobgoblin, the 2 Scientists. Those are the only 2 mobs left, and we can start moving on to the next packs. In order to spawn the boss, I'm pretty sure you're supposed to kill all the Hobgoblins in this room, so that's kind of the priority when going into this area. So we have 2 batches that spawned in the back, and we immediately switch to those to prio them. We have another Hobgoblin here, and we're making sure to get all of these kicks. I have a sweep for that, but I accidentally overlapped with the Warrior. So that's just one of the kind of the downsides of doing this in a pug. You don't really have any communication. Kind of want to save your CCs, but at the same time, if the other person is saving them as well, then no one CCs, or if you guys want to make sure you're sending it first. So it's just one of those things that you kind of have to get the vibe of the group, and then hopefully you can realize that the tank does, you know, the first 2 CCs or something, or the Warrior does them. That way you're not overlapping them. But sometimes everyone just has to send everything because an important cast has to get stopped. Not much else going on here. We just have to finish up this pack, and then we can move on to the boss. So we're currently sitting at, after this pack, probably over 6 mil on the overall. The Warrior is probably going to be closer to 8, and the DK is probably going to be closer to 9, because that is a lot of damage this guy put out. Yeah, 9.52 on the overall. That is crazy going into the second boss.
Elemental made of mead. Oh, my
And here the most important thing is to make sure that we're using defensives on this, on the big AoE that the boss does, and we're also dodging the circles.
Dance.
Something that I see other groups do, especially in lower keys, is everyone swaps over to the brew drops. For the most part, they get cleaved down pretty easily, so you don't have to go out of your way to focus them. And the most important thing is to do the boss damage, right? The faster the boss dies, the less chance of these dewdrops reaching the boss, the less chance of someone walking into a circle. So killing the boss is always the #1 priority.
3, 2, 1.
Going into the second dance, we got the boss to 65%. We're doing some pretty good boss damage here. Our cooldowns aligned really well here because we had them at the beginning. Again, the tank is doing a pretty good job of moving the boss around the room. This is a very, very heavy tank boss. You can see there I padded just a little bit on the dewdrops. They do have to die. You just have to look out for some of the ones that are closer to 100%, because once they reach that, then they become enraged. You do want to kill them, but the priority is always boss.
Three, two, one, dance.
The link goes down, but unfortunately I'm like slightly out of it. I can't really get in because of all the ground mechanics. Here we're sending all of our cooldowns, and we're just going to turbo delete this boss. Also, something I noticed after this key was that there are only 2 other monks that have timed a 19 Cinderbrew. This is pretty awesome for me to be able to time this in a pug group at like 3 in the morning or something.
Three, two, one, dance.
We have our final dance here. Same thing with the brews. I see the brew in the top left, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to go ahead and ROP that for the safety. Actually, I don't have ROP. Never mind. We almost break the key right here because the boss, for whatever reason, just goes left there and almost runs into that dewdrop, but we got really lucky. The tank is doing a really good job of moving this boss around. I should have saved my ring of peace. I don't remember where I used the other one. For situations like that, ring of peace is the biggest value thing that you can do on this boss, is to help position those dewdrops around. And now we're just going to go ahead and finish the boss. We have all of our cooldowns up, so going into the next hallway, we'll be able to fully blast.
Took months of R&D. You goody-goodies don't know who you're dealing with. You do any more damage, and I'll cash you out. You hear me?
All right, so the tank is going into this. Again, this is a pretty standard pull, just pulling everything all the way up to the harvester, making sure to interrupt and stop the worker bees from their final sting ability, and just making sure that you're just AoEing everything down.
AoE. Volley. Front. AoE. Front. Volley.
Pretty much the only thing that we have left here is to make sure that we get the harvester down. Here, I really should have switched over to the harvester. I'm pretty sure I'm targeting, yeah, the bee wrangler. I want to make sure that you're killing everything at the exact same time, because this right here is where you lose time slowly over the course of a key, right where you have mobs living.
AoE.
So there, I mean, 5-10 seconds, right, to kill that mob while everything else was dead. So prio damage is very, very important. And targeting the correct mobs in this hierarchy is also important as well. We don't really have any cooldowns going into this.
Front.
Resto Shaman drops the link.
Volley.
And again, we're focusing on these worker bees, making sure to stop the final stings. One of the wranglers let a wrath go through, and as you can see, all of those bees are enraged. Ideally, don't want that to happen. I'm pretty sure that's dangerous for a tank. Maybe not. I'm not entirely sure. It seems like it'd be something that's dangerous for a tank, right? Especially if all of the worker bees are enraged and they do final stings. I mean, maybe that can just one-shot them. The tank here is an absolute gamer, able to live through all that. We're finishing off the last 2 mobs. Much better on this pack. We went ahead and skipped the pack on the right. No one pulled, which is awesome. And now we have this harvester pack going into the 3rd boss of the dungeon.
They should be free gathering pollen in the forest.
AoE.
Get to lock up your bees. Letting them be free range was
So all the little beelets just died. I didn't realize that Barret can do so much damage. He definitely cranked that pole, killed all the little mobs. Here, I'm actually making a pretty big mistake. I should be focusing on the harvester, not anything else. I have no idea what I'm doing here. Maybe in my mind, at this time, I was so hyped that we were on track to time this key that I just completely forgot what to do. Always, always, always make sure that you're targeting the harvester.
Run.
Everything is dead and this guy's at 20%, right? So if I'd been targeting this guy might have been at like, I don't know, 8% or something, or 5%, and we'd be on the boss already. This harvester and that other harvester, that's like, I don't know, 10 to 20 seconds right there. So it's super important you're prioing the correct targets. We have all of our buttons going into the boss. We're gonna go absolutely crazy padding on these beelets. I guess not that crazy. But this is a pretty good boss for Windwalker. For the most part, you have 4 or 5 targets, and that's kind of where we excel at. That's what we do very well in dungeons like Theater of Pain, because there are not that many gigantic pulls compared to this dungeon. I think this dungeon is probably one of the weaker Windwalker dungeons when it comes to large packs. In terms of boss damage and prio, we excel here very well.
Adds 3, 2, 1. Wins.
We're still holding on to about 5.5 million damage. So here, you always want to make sure that you're stopping these bees, and it's not a bad idea to prioritize them. Pretty sure they do a lot of damage to the tank, and they put dots on people as well. Definitely burn you down in combination with anything else.
3, 2, 1. Wins.
So here, the shaman drops a link. The tank also pulled in a little bit more beelets. And the boss is sitting at 63%. I'm pretty sure right around here, I'm trying to figure out when we're going to lust. Yeah, there it is. So I wasn't sure if we're going to lust at like 22:30 and then have it for the last 30 seconds of the key, or if we're going to save it for the next boss. We're going to go ahead and save it. The DK ended up dying. I'm pretty sure it's because I asked that question and he was typing that he didn't hit a button or something. So that honestly might have been my fault that he died there. That's just one of those pug things, and I just wanted to make sure that I was using my CDs effectively.
3, 2, 1. Wins.
So here we're still maintaining around 5.3 now million DPS. So the throughput is very good on this boss, especially if you're able to slicing wind all of the bees as they come out. And if you're using your defensives effectively on this boss, they end up aligning for every single one of the pushbacks. So we're also not taking that much damage. We have slicing wind, bang, hit all those guys. Still at about 5 million damage on this pull, and we're doing really, really well. For the next wind, we have Karma, so we're going to be safe, and we also have the health potion, just in case something goes south, if I get hit by anything else, or if I just walk in the fire or something. Or this is another boss where tanking is really, really important. Dropping off the fire puddles in correct spots and just the overall boss movement, it makes this fight significantly easier. And this tank did a really, really good job of making sure that nobody got hit with the fire, and they dropped the circles off in really good locations. Here we have all of our cooldowns coming up, but we're just going to go ahead and not use anything. The boss is at 3%. We're going to be killing this guy at 25.
3, 2, 1.
25, 23. It's about 341 on the kill time. DK didn't die. It'd be a little bit faster, which would have been like a sub 330. Awesome.
To make a beeline to Goldie's office. Come back to the taps to use them.
Now we're going into the final room. At about 26 is, I'm sure, when we're going to actually start the combat. So we have 7 minutes to kill this 4-pack and the boss.
I'm gonna have to
We also have Lust, so we're definitely ahead on time. And at this point, it's just making sure that we're playing safe and we're not going to do anything stupid, like dying or greeting a cast or something. There's not much going on in this pack. When all 4 of them are up, you can CC them and stun them from jumping around, but as soon as one of them dies, you can no longer do that. And also something I realized only later, that every single time a guy dies, all of their names change to like a different variation of Yes Men. So this is like Agree Gentleman. I thought that was a pretty cool detail. Had no idea until about recently. I just never really paid attention to the names. Just mobs to kill, right? Now the tank is going to do something that I wasn't expecting because I wasn't paying attention to the count, is we need to make sure that we get some more percent. And what these guys have in their group is a way to get this pack over here. I think I've seen this before, probably on like lower keys. I didn't know that people still did this. This was a very, very efficient use of time. So we're going to go ahead and kill the last Yes Men. That's going to start the boss RP, and we have all of our buttons. So I'm going to go ahead and save everything until the boss comes out. I in-capped the guy on the far left. I think I was thinking I had de-enrage, but I didn't. So now we're just going to hit all the buttons and just delete this pack.
Run. 2 stacks.
It looks like they spawned 1 brew, but it doesn't really matter. It's just getting vaporized
Clear.
because we have all the buttons and the lust. So that pack was pretty much non-existent.
Run.
Most keys nowadays, but the tank takes on the arrow pops on their own. It just makes it a little bit easier and a lot safer because no one's popping random stuff.
Run. 1 stack.
So going into the first intermission, we have AMZ. I didn't use any of my defensives. Here, we're just making sure that we're dodging. Just because you get to this part doesn't mean the key's over. I've seen people run this boss down. I've seen a guy die like 3 times on this thing, just to the lava waves. You die to lava wave, you take a B-res instantly, you die to another one, no B-res for 2 minutes, key's bricked. You have to stay focused here. As much as you're thinking this key's already timed, it's in the bag, this boss is easy, you still have to pay attention because you never know when you or anyone else can run it down.
Run. 1 stack.
The boss is at 54%. We have all of our defensives down. I went ahead and used Diffuse Magic for the dot that I got for not popping a barrel. And we're going into this intermission with the boss at 48%, all of our buttons, and we have a link here, so we're pretty safe. And now it's just making sure we pump into the boss, and we're dodging these lava waves. Tank did a pretty good job there of destroying the correct barrels. We pretty much didn't have to do a single thing when it came to dodging.
Run. 2 stacks. Clear.
Boss is at 33%. We got the dot. It looks like I popped Port Brew. I still have my health potion, so just in case I need to use that to top myself off, I have that. And we're doing a pretty good job at melting this boss. I'm still maintaining somewhere around 4 million DPS. I will say a lot of that had to do with the pack that we pulled into the beginning, and we just turbo deleted it.
1 stack.
Again, just making sure that we're dodging everything. I don't have any more defensives up. We do have the AMZ. Yeah, I almost trolled right there. Almost walked into lava wave for no reason. hit the wrong button, I guess. I don't know why I went right. I should have just kept going left. And we have our Touch of Death up. We have Slicing Winds. I mean, we pretty much have everything here in 3 seconds. So this boss is going to get nuked. Boss is at 4%, 2%, 1%, and
1.
that's it. We went ahead and timed the 19 Cinderbrew Meadery. Oh my god. 19 Cinderbrew timed 16 points, baby. Holy shit. 2 minutes left on the clock. This group is crazy. This group is actually insane.